And thank you again for recording. You are a wonderful, 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 outstanding person.
Thank you so much. All right. So this is class 2 of the Blender and Unity class. I hope everybody can hear me good. My name is MetaJackey. The class is taught by me and Kipp York VR. And today we are going to cover, we're going to get a little bit further into like the interface, entering objects into the scene and object manipulation. So yeah, hopefully it won't be too long. What was the last class? Like 2 hours, over 2 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a lot of just helping people to figure out how to get things uploaded and everything. So hopefully we can get through this fairly quickly. But anyway, so I want to start, and I don't know if you really covered this a whole lot last time, but I want to start by I guess entering objects into the scene, like 3D objects that you'll be working with when you're building in Blender. So, okay. First, let me see. Let me get this straight. I usually go from the side for some reason, y'all. So anyway, we all know, and I got my screencast keys, so you should be able to see the key that I'm pressing over here in this corner. It got this big ass mouse, and my keys are hot pink, so hopefully y'all can see them good. All right, so in order to enter like shapes or 3D objects into the scene, you have to press Shift and A, and this menu right here come up. Like you have all this other stuff here, but excuse my language, but fuck all that shit. Y'all don't need it right now. Just focus on the mesh. And sometimes you might have to enter a light, like if you want to see something in render mode, but we're not gonna talk about that today. Okay, so this is like the different mesh items that you can enter into a scene. The first is a plane. It's just a regular flat 3D plane. We use this a lot when we're trying to lay out a world, like lay out like what size we want it to be and everything. So, so yeah, like this is a plane. And let me see. I wish I had an avatar so y'all could see what I was talking about. But okay. So anyway, let me go to the next thing. I'm gonna delete this. All right, and say, okay, we got the plane, and then of course y'all know about the cube. We all know about the cube. That's the basic thing. And let's see. And this is a circle. It's more like it's like a flat object, like a shape more so like a shape, but you can, let me see. You can make it into a 3D object, like if you extrude it or whatever. But yeah, people use that for other things usually. Let me see, okay. And of course, we have the UV sphere. Sometimes I use this like when I'm building stuff that need to be curved or whatever, like domes and stuff like that. And let's see. And of course, we have the icosphere. And some people work with that. I haven't worked with this particular shape a whole lot. Let's see. Okay, come on. Control Z. Control Z. All right. And we have the cylinder. Now, I work with the cylinder, and I think the cube and the cylinder the most when I'm building. But yeah, this is the cylinder. And if you see over here, like once, let me show y'all again. Okay. Shift A and say I got the cylinder. Now, a lot of times we have to be mindful of the number of polygons that we put in the scene because like, the metaverse and VR has its limitations. But when you first enter an object into the scene, you have a chance to kind of resize it. Like if I say like, oh well, 16 vertices is too many, I want to reduce it down, I can say, okay, I just want 10, and it'll reduce it down to 10. But you have to pay attention when you first enter it into a scene because once you click off of this, like if I go here and click, that menu is gone. It's gone forever unless you re-enter it. Even like if I delete and I re-enter this cylinder, even if I don't click this at all or I just click on the cylinder or click somewhere else, it's gone. So you just have to pay attention to that when you entering objects into the scene. If that makes sense. Okay. And let's see, we have the cone. I don't really use it a whole lot. Some of y'all might, I don't know, but it's just another object. And what else do we have? We have the Taurus. Hmm, I guess some people use it, not me. And let's see. I never used the grid. Kip, have you ever used the grid?
No, nope,
Okay,
nope,
yeah, I
nope.
never used the grid. And of course, we have Suzanne the monkey. I don't know. I don't know why the hell Belinda put that in there, but it's there. So I guess it's just for kicks. I don't know. But yeah. So yeah. So basically, let me reiterate. Let me go back. Like I said, if you want to enter an object into the scene, just Shift A, and you're gonna go to Mesh, and you just pick whichever shape you want to enter into a scene. Now, now that we got through that part, I want to talk about the transform toolbar, which is over here to your left. We have all these different tools that we can use to manipulate the object. I know he showed y'all about selecting and hitting the G and the Y, and you can go this way, or the G and the X, or the G and the Z axis to go up and down. But you can also manipulate and move the object with this toolbar over here. Now, basically, this is like the first one is it's called like a select tool. Like you have different things, like you have the select box, which is just basically it's a box, and you can select it with a box, with the box shape. But you also have other options here, like select circle. And select circle is like if you don't want to select everything, you just want to select certain things in the scene, you can select like this one. Well, let me hit shift. I'm sorry, y'all. And that one or whatever. But you select with a circle basically. And then we have the lasso tool where oh shit. I don't know why it's not doing it. But yeah, but you could basically select with the lasso tool. I don't know why the hell it's not doing it. There you go.
Yeah, through the medium point.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. There it is. But yeah. But it's just basically selecting objects with different shapes for whatever reason. And next we have the 3D cursor. The 3D cursor. Let me shift C. Oh, wait. Shift C. The 3D cursor normally starts at the center of the world, but you can move it to wherever you want to. And what it does is wherever this cursor is, whenever you enter an object into the world, it's going to enter wherever this 3D cursor is. Like if I say I want to enter a UV sphere, it's going to come in right there. But if I move this cursor, say over here, and I say I want to enter a sphere over there, it'll come in right there. And if you want to return the 3D cursor back to the center of the world, you just hit Shift C and it'll go back to the center of the world. It comes in handy like if you're working in a scene, like you building a house or a room and you want to bring in a cube or a sphere or something like that, but you don't want to have to drag it from the center of the world to wherever you're trying to get it to. You could just move that cursor. Like if I want to put a cube right here, then I could just move that cursor there and it's right there or whatever. But yeah, that's just basically where you enter things into the scene. Okay, next is the move tool. Now I know y'all were taught how to move with the G, hit G, and then you hit Y and all that. But you can also just press the move tool, select the object, and move like that. You can move on the Y axis, you can move on the X, or you can move on the Z axis just by simply hitting the move tool.
I was stressed out because you was all this time, and there was another. Okay, okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, yeah. So, I use the move tool. Like, sometimes I don't have time to be pressing G and Y. I just click that tool and move it wherever I want it to go. And it helps my workflow. It helps speed up my workflow. All right. And here is the rotate tool. And it's basically the same as selecting the object and pressing R and Y and all that stuff. But instead of doing all that, you can basically select the object, and if you want to rotate on the Z axis or the Z axis. That's another thing. Like whenever you guys are watching tutorials or something on YouTube, a lot of people will say Z instead of Z, but it still means the same thing. Sometimes I say Z, but I'm gonna say Z for the purpose of this video. But yeah, it's the rotate tool. You rotate. You can use it to rotate on different axes like the X and the Y axis. Yeah, that's like if you don't want to hit R and all that stuff. It's just quicker for me. All right, and we're going to move on to the scale tool. And it's basically the same thing. You know, you scale on the Z, you can scale on the Y, and you can scale on the X axis. And another thing I wanted to kind of go over, and I almost forgot, when you scale or manipulate an object when you scale or manipulate a 3D object and you're in object mode and not edit mode, say like I make this taller, right? You have to be mindful of your scale over here, because when you bringing stuff into Unity or doing anything in Blender, you always have to make sure that the scale is 1:1. So it's like 1 X, 1 Y, and 1 Z. But you see how that changed when I made it taller? When you manipulate an object in the object mode, you have to hit Control A, apply all transforms, and that way it's back 1:1. It took me a whole 24 hours almost. And I just kept making this mistake and I didn't realize it until I talked to Artsy, and she was like, yeah, you got to make sure that scale is 1:1. Because what happened is if you don't and your scale is not 1:1 on your objects, once you transfer like the world or whatever you're working in into like a program like Unity and you're trying to do your light bakes and stuff like that, everything's going to be all screwed up. So like it's good to be mindful to keep it, to keep everything 1:1, or you'll run into a lot of problems later on. Like if you but it's different in edit mode. Like if you manipulate an object in edit mode, say I hit tab, I'm in edit mode, and say I want to make it taller, so I hit S and Z. It's like it's still 1:1 because I manipulated it in edit mode. So you just have to be careful of that. All right. All right, so we did rotate, we did scale, and this is transform. Transform enables you to do all the different things under this one little menu option. You can move it on the axis, you can scale it, or you can rotate it. So I guess that's for people who work real fast and don't want to wait or whatever, but I don't really mess with that because normally me, I'd be done hit the wrong thing. And I just be all over the place, so I don't hardly use that one. I have to do one thing at a time. All right, this is like the annotate tool, and it's like when you say like you working on a project with other people, and all of y'all have access to the file. Like you can, write different things, like make notes or say, hey, this needs to be wider. This is too small. Delete this, delete that. It's just a way to make notes within the file. Let's see. This is the measurement tool. When I first started building, before I had sense enough to bring avatars in to do my world scale, I used to use this tool to kind of measure out like how wide, like in so many feet or meters. But some people use this. I really don't, but I used to. And this is like a tool to add different objects. Like the tools I just showed y'all, the objects I showed y'all earlier. Like if I want to add a cube, I can just make that little thing, or I think we could bring it up too. Let me see. Yeah, like that. I hardly ever use that. I just hit Shift A and bring my objects in like that. And also, if you hit Tab on this object, you will see that the menu is expanded to give you other options like extrude region, inset faces, bevel, and loop cut. Let me show you. Okay. So to extrude a region means I could bring that up. Like I make a hole. I take this flat, I take this right here, this face right here, and I bring it up, and that's just that's just an extrusion.
Hey, Jackie, quick interjection.
Mm-hmm.
If everybody doesn't realize, we're now in edit mode. We're not in object
Yes,
mode
we
anymore.
are in edit mode. We are in edit mode. Okay, object mode, you only get this. Edit mode is when things get expanded because you're manipulating the 3D object even further. You're not just moving it or rotating it or resizing it. You're actually manipulating it. All right. So, and then you have the thing where you inset faces. And let's see, bevel and loop cut. I don't use these per se. Like, you can if you want to, but it's easier for me to do things manually or just use my shortcut keys basically. Like, say if I want to extrude a face on this cube, I just select this face, I hit E and extrude it. Now, if I want to inset, I select this face, I hit I and inset. That's inset right there. It's like you're making a smaller face inside of a face. Let's see, and let's see what else. Bevel. Now, bevel is kind of like when you want to make a sharp edge more rounded or more smooth. So say like, okay, I got this cube. I'm going to go into edge select mode. I call it line select, y'all. I'm country, don't mind me. But yeah, say I want to make this edge right here more smooth, more rounded. So I would hit 2, go into edge select mode, and I would hit Control and B. Once I hit Control and B, I can move my mouse and it curves that line. It makes that edge more curvy. And if I want to give it more detail, then I can scroll my mouse wheel and add more edge loops to make it even more rounded. And depending on how far I, move my mouse, if I want to bring my mouse in a little bit, then you see how that went from a sharp edge to a more rounded, curved, smooth edge. So that's basically what bevel is. Let me do it again so y'all can see it, because I know people forget. So you select this edge. Wait. Okay, you press 2 to go in edge mode. Select the edge. Hit Control B. And you can pull it out to make it more rounded. And if you want less loop cuts or edges, you can reduce it by scrolling your mouse wheel. And if you want more, then you scroll your mouse wheel forward and it'll make it more, just depending on how smooth you want that edge to be. But you also have to keep in mind of your polygon count, because like I said, you don't want too many polygons in your scene where you have trouble with optimization once you upload your world or your avatar or whatever into VR. Okay. What else did we have? All right, now we're going to get into loop cut. One of my favorite things. And I think Kipp kind of showed y'all this last time, but
one of the most important things.
Yes. Loop cut. All right. Say I want to cut this cube in half. All right. I'm in object mode. I want to cut this cube in half. I hit tab. I'm going into edit. I'm in edit mode now. And I hit Control R. And Control R gives me a loop cut. See that? That's the loop cut right there. That means that you're adding more geometry to the cube. And you can move it. Like if you wanted to stay in the middle, it can stay in the middle. If you want to move it over here, you can move it over here. And say I make a mistake and I deselect the edge. I deselect the loop cut that I just made. All I have to do is hit Alt Shift and it'll select the entire loop cut again, and it gives me another chance to manipulate it and move it to another location. Now, if I want to make multiple loop cuts, I hit Control plus R. And I do that by scrolling my mouse wheel. We just got one now, but if I want another one, I can scroll my mouse wheel forward, and now we got 2. Now we got 3, 4, or however many I want. And loop cuts, man, we can't survive without them. I'm just gonna say that much. So, and also you can move your multiple loop cuts like that too as well. And let me see. Okay. And let's say I made a mistake and I deselected and I say, oh, I want to move these 3 loop cuts to a, I want to move them closer to the left. So all I have to do is hit Shift and Alt, or Alt, I do Alt and Shift, y'all, and just select it. Select that one. Select that one. I have all 3 of them selected, and I could just move them again. Or if I want them to be closer together, say I want them to be closer together like on the Y-axis, I could hit S and Y, and that'll scale them closer together or further apart. So it's like all different types of ways you can manipulate those. Anybody have any questions so far?
I do. When would you use this loop cut? I mean, like what is the purpose of it?
If I want to make, let me see. Hold on, y'all. If I want to make something like a shape, or say, let me do some perfect example. Say this is, let me go. Okay, I'm hitting 3, going into face select, and I'm gonna do something like a wall. Say I want to do a wall, or make a window or something like that. You can do the Boolean thing, but I like to do loop cuts. So I'm in edit mode, and say I go Control R, and I got 2 loop cuts, and I want to manipulate those loop cuts. So I'm going to hit S, Z to put them further apart on the Z axis. And then I'm going to go Control R again, make 2 more loop cuts, and I'm going to hit S, X, and bring it further apart. And say this is a wall, and I want to put a window in this wall. Okay. I'm hitting 3 to get back in face select mode. Select this, select that. I hit X, and I'm deleting faces. And that's like, it's for like cutting holes in things, or if you want to like make, more complex shapes or items.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But that's like the easiest way I can show you. Okay. Let's see if I can go all the way back. All right, what else are we going to talk about? Hold on, y'all. All right. You know what? Let me show y'all something. Hold on. All right. All right, let me see. I'm gonna do a cylinder, and I'm gonna make it 16 vertices. Bringing it up, and say I want to make like a little, like this little round coffee table right here, right? Let's see. Select that face, bring it up. All right. Now I'm going to extrude this little face right here, this little round face. I'm going to extrude it on the Z axis. And say I want to make the top part, right? I would add a loop cut. Well, I could have extruded that, but I'll add a loop cut right here just to show y'all. I'll add a loop cut like right there, to kind of separate this part from the rest of this part down here. And okay, I'm gonna hit Control, Shift Alt. Wait, hold on, y'all, 1 second, because I'm doing this wrong. Sorry. Let's see. All right. Okay, what I'm about to do now is extrude, but I'm going to show y'all a different way of extruding. before I do this loop cut. All right, so I'm in my line select tool or my edge select tool, and I'm hitting Shift Alt, and that enables me to select this line all the way around the perimeter of this circle. Okay, I'm going to hit E to extrude, and I'm going to hit S. And instead of extruding up or down, I'm extruding out, making it wider. And I'm going to pull that up. And say I wanted to like add some more geometry to make it more like give it like an edge, like right along here. I'll hit Control R, and I'm adding a loop cut. And now that I have that loop cut there, I'm scaling it, and see how it gives it more of a squared off shape around the edge. Like loop cuts are just to manipulate and like create different, more complex shapes in geometry, basically, if that makes sense. But we'll get more into that.
That was so cool.
Thank you. I hope y'all understood. Sometimes I could be all over the place, but that's just me. All right. I want to get into another thing called joining objects, because sometimes we would need to join more than one object together when we're building. So basically with joining objects, okay, I'm going to create a cube, and I'm going to duplicate this cube by hitting Shift plus D. So now we have 2 cubes. Now, if I wanted to join these cubes together, I can select both of them, select this one, and press Shift and select that one, and I hit Control plus J. So now these 2 separate objects are now one. They're now joined together. So let me demonstrate that again one more time, so y'all can see. All right, Shift D to duplicate. Bring that out to the side. I hold down Shift. I select the first object, hold down Shift, select the second object, hit Control J, and that joins those 2 objects together. I don't use this. Like, I use this a lot when I'm making furniture. Like if I'm making a table or a couch and I want the legs of the table to be connected to the table, then I would select the legs and connect it and join everything together, just so I won't have so many different geometric shapes when I transfer my worlds over and get ready to upload them. So mainly that's what I use something like this for. And sometimes I do it when I'm making avatar clothes, when I don't want the avatar to just have too many different pieces of clothes. I join things that can be joined together, like a jumpsuit or like a skirt and a top or a bikini or something like that. But yeah. All right. So we covered duplicating and joining objects. Another thing I want to talk about is statistics. When you working, actually, let me turn that off. Okay. When you working in your file, like I said, you have to be mindful of the number of polygons that you're using, like the number of vertices and all that type of stuff, because VRChat and other metaverse platforms, they have their limitations, that they will allow you to upload. So you have to be careful, and you have to really watch your polygon count. So the way to keep track of your polygon count when you're building a world is you come up here to this little, you see this little drop down menu. It's beside the overlay. You press this little drop down arrow and you select statistics. Once you select statistics, you could come over here in this left hand corner and you'll see I got 1 object selected here. So so it's telling me that I got 5 objects. I got 4,033 vertices, and it tells me the number of edges, the number of faces, the number of triangles. Mainly I pay attention to the number of vertices when I'm building. Usually I try to keep my worlds, I try to keep them under 100,000 when I'm uploading to VRChat. Sometimes they could be more. I know sometimes Kipp them, they have worlds that, don't y'all have worlds that be in the millions sometime or pretty close?
Sure do.
Yeah, and I'd be like, holy shit. But I never I never got up that far. I never got up into the millions. I think the most I probably got was like 200,000 or 300,000. But yeah, so you have to just keep your eye on the number of vertices that you put into your world, because it can cause problems when you get ready to bring it into Unity and get things set up to upload. It can cause you a lot of issues.
Okay.
hmm Any questions?
No, this is great.
Okay, it was something else. Oh, right. I want to talk about texturing these objects. So, right now I have y'all in the viewport shading mode. In this mode, you will be able to see the textures that you're adding to your 3D objects. Like over here, I made this little table earlier, and I made these two glasses. And you see how you can see like the little metal part right here, and you can see the glass, and I got the little metal on the table. But if I go into solid display mode, you can't see it. Or like, of course, wireframe, you're not gonna see nothing. But solid display, I think a lot of times people use it like if they want to just, you know, they don't want to like take up too much computing power while they're modeling, while they're building. So they would do like solid display, just to be able to work faster and not have a whole lot of lag or whatever. But I mainly work in this display in the material preview, because I like to see what I'm doing. Like, I like to look at the textures, and that's just me. But I think that's most of us though. And Kip, you work in this, you work in this mode too, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Sure do.
So yeah. So to add a texture to your object, and another thing is, say like you select the object, and I don't know if everybody have a numpad on their keyboard, but for those who do, say like we right here, right, and I got this cube selected, and you want to only focus on the object that you have selected. If you hit the delete key on your numpad, it'll take you straight to it. Or like if I want to look at this cup, it's right there, take me straight to it. All right, so say I want to give this cube a texture. Basically, I already have textures in here, but I come over here to this little menu, and I select the material tab, and I want to give it a new texture. So I add this, I hit the plus, and that's a new material. I don't know if I have anything to upload, but say I just want to change the color. I could change the color like that. And so now it's another color, it's another color. Now it has a material on it. But I think I have some materials in here. Like if I want to change this material, I could say I want to do, say if I want to make it a glass cube, then now it's glass. Or I want to make it like a mirror texture.
Nice.
See, now it's a mirror texture. So that's basically how you add materials. And let's see. And if you want to like take the material off, just hit the minus or the subtract sign, and it'll remove it. Hold on one second. I need to find my material. Shit, I got stuff all over the place, y'all. Let's see. Okay. All right, I'm gonna hit new. I'll say new texture. All right. Say I want to add a texture that I have on my computer to this square right here. I hit base color, and I can hit image texture. Once I hit the image texture, I could go into open. Okay, let me go on my D drive and see if I could find a texture. Y'all, I got so many files. Y'all gonna have to excuse me. Okay, let's go to.
Sure, rather show them yours than show them mine. They don't wanna see the
Shit. Oh man, let me see. Hold on. Do I have any in my desert scene? Let's see. File textures. Okay, say I want to use this wicker. Whenever you another note, whenever you download PBR textures from the internet, you're gonna have all these different options. The main texture is your albedo texture. All the ambient occlusion is like for shadows and corners and stuff like that to give it like a more, realistic look. And then you have the height, and the height just give it like a kind of like a 3D effect, like like if you're using like a brick or stone texture and normal, all of this is like to just give it more realistic effect and more realistic look. But your main texture will always be your albedo. So let's do the albedo. See that? Now it has a wicker texture on it. So yeah, that's basically how you apply textures to 3D objects. I'll show y'all again with this. And when you bring another thing, when you bring a texture in to your file, you can automatically find it if you come over here. You're in your text, your material preview, your material tab. You come over here and you press the down arrow by this little circle, and you'll see all the textures that are in your file. Like all the textures that you used, you can find them right in here. Like I have my glass, iron, mirror, just all different types of textures. They'll be right there. So, yeah. And another thing with textures, I can let y'all know right now, the thing that's going to affect your file size more than anything are going to be the textures. Especially if you're using like the PVR larger textures, you'll have to figure out, like if you get in Unity and you're about to upload your world or your avatar to VR chat and it say, oh no, your avatar can only be 10 megabytes, but the file is 25 megabytes. Then more than likely you're gonna have to go back in and reduce the size of those textures in that avatar. So basically, that's what's gonna take up more space in your file more than anything. Is gonna be these doggone textures. Like I said, you can have millions of you can have like a million polygons, but if them damn textures too big, I mean, you're gonna be assed out until you have to, you have to figure something else out. So, yeah. Let's see. You got anything else to add, Kipp?
Just everything that we're going through today. Make sure that you review this video, because next week we're actually going to get into making an object. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
make sure review this video, and everything that she's been iterating. We're going to go back through those things again as we make an object. You know what I'm saying? So you'll get to see firsthand how a lot of these techniques are applied. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the loop cuts.
Right.
Especially cuts.
Because y'all gonna use them to death. I ain't gonna even lie to you about it. Okay, but I can kind of do a little review. I'm gonna add another cube. And we're going to start with the extrusions again. So I'm gonna select this face right here. Yeah, I like to just move my stuff around. I'm sorry. All right, I'm gonna start with this face right here, and I'm gonna extrude it by pressing E. And you can either do, I think it's the G or the X. Well, no, just go. Hold on, y'all. I'm sorry. Okay, E, and pull it out. And that's your extrusion right there. Now, if I want to do an inset, I hit I and I use my mouse to push it in. And say I want to do another inset just to give it a little bit more geometry, I could hit I again and push that in and say I want to extrude. Say I want to extrude, but this time I don't want to pull it out. I want to push the face in. I hit E and I could just manipulate it and move it in like that. And I can, once I got that arrow, I can push it further. I can bring it up any way I want to. All right, so with bevel, like I said with bevel, we're still in edit mode, y'all, so I have to just reiterate that. Okay, I'm going to press 2, which is going to put me in the edge select mode. I'm going to select this edge here, and I'm going to hit Control B, and I can pull it out with my mouse. And if I want like less loop cuts or less edges, I just move my scroll wheel back and say I just got one there now. But if I want to increase, then I can scroll it back up and go as many as I want. But like I said, you have to keep in mind about your polygon count. And it also can manipulate the size, like moving your mouse can also manipulate the size of your bevel as well.
God damn, it worked.
So I hope that's enough for y'all to practice at least and kind of, figure out, how to manipulate, your objects and stuff. So when we do class next week, we can actually get into creating different objects and more, complex shapes and stuff like that. Anybody have any questions? Yes.
Can you apply color to that cube one more? Just one more.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Y'all want me to do a new color, or y'all want me to do one of the colors already in here? Y'all know what? I'm gonna do a new color. I'm gonna
Do a new color.
Yeah,
Show 'em
okay.
a new color.
You hush, DJ Mark. You already know this stuff. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna select the cube. I'm gonna come. Oh well. Let me click off of that so y'all won't. Okay. So I got the cube selected. I'm gonna come over here to this little menu. I'm gonna go down to the material tab right there. I'm gonna hit the plus, and then I'm gonna hit new, and I could give it a name like new texture or something like just something random. New texture, something like that. Okay. Now, if I want to pull a file from my computer, a texture from my computer onto this cube, I go to base color. I press the little yellow dot right here. And under texture, I go to image texture. And I go to open. And that's going to take me to my computer where I can go on here. Let me see. Maybe I have some textures in here. All right. Let me do raw wood. All right. Now, like I said, it's going to, when you download PBR textures, it's going to always be albedo. But in this case, I renamed my albedo file to raw wood. For whatever reason, I forgot. But I'm going to select this. And then I'm going to hit open image. And it applied it to the cube.
Oh, Jackie, and just to reiterate, sometimes you may not see albedo, you may see diffuse.
Yeah, diffuse, yeah.
Diffuse or albedo.
Yeah. But yeah, most of the times, like with the place I download from, they always do albedo, and I think that's why I had to rename this particular texture, because like all of their files say albedo. So then like when you get into the same texture name, different, you have different textures with the same name in the same file, they get all screwed up. So, but yeah, sometimes it's gonna be diffuse, y'all. But yeah, so this is the texture applied to the cube. And if I say, you know what, I don't like this wood texture, I want to go and pick something I already have in here, then I could just go to this little round, this little circle right here, click the down arrow, and I could pick a material or a texture that I already have in here. Say I want it to look like water. I want to have a water cube. Then I just hit that, and it'll apply to the cube. And that's basically the gist of it. For now, anyway. Any questions? Yes, no, hello.
I'm so thrilled right now.
Oh my goodness.
This is great.
Well, I am glad y'all are excited. It's good to be excited because there's so much more to this. And this is just like scratching the surface. But with something like Blender, you have to scratch the surface to get to the good part. You have to pace yourself. If not, I could tell you, you'll become overwhelmed, you know.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm
This
sorry.
is worth it. This is great. No, this is worth it. And thank you for going over in such
Oh, no
great
problem.
detail. I really love that little mouse thing you got going over there, because
Oh, hold on, y'all. Wait.
that is nice.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, you said you were gonna add a texture
I got
to
my
that
I
too.
got my little cup. I got my little cuppy cup. Okay.
Yeah, decorate it.
All right. So let me do something. I'm gonna add a couple loop cuts in here, and I'm gonna try to make it look like my other cup. So I'm gonna put it right there. So I got two. Hold on. Okay. Control R. Scroll my wheel up. I got two loop cuts, and I'm moving them down. And say I want them closer together. I hit S, Z, move them closer together. Now, I want this entire little area right here, this entire line to be like a different color from the rest of the cup. However, I gotta color the whole cup first, or else whatever I color this is gonna go, whatever texture I apply to this part, gonna go to the whole cup. So let me get over here and say I want the cup to be a glass material. All right, so it's a glass. I selected it's a glass material. So now I want to add another material, another texture to this glass. So I hit edit, and I want it to be, I want it to cover like all these faces surrounding this glass. So I hit 3, which takes me into face select mode. And in order to select this entire circumference of faces, I have to hit Shift Alt, click it, all of that selected, and now I want to add that little metal material to make the glass, give it a little special little look. So what I do is I hit the plus, which it adds another material to this object. Now I already have the metal material inside my file, so I go down here, I click the down arrow, and I'm going to add this little iron thing right here. So I click that. I got that selected, but I have to assign this material to this area. So with that selected, I hit assign. So now, there it is.
Oh.
And let me make sure that my sizing is right, because remember I said about this scale. So I'm going to select this glass, Control A, all transforms, and we back to 1:1. So whenever I pull this glass over in Unity, I should not have any issues. So yeah. And now we have one object with 2 materials applied to it. Okay. Any questions?
I know what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm building like 100 tables and like 100 little classes.
Oh my God, girl. Oh Lord.
That's fun. That's cool.
Well, I'm sorry I couldn't do a 2-hour class like Kipp did on Tuesday, but I hope y'all learned something, at least a little something. you know.
Yeah, a lot. Thank you.
You're
Okay,
welcome. You're
and this
welcome.
weekend,
Thank
y'all
you. A
assignment
lot,
is
a lot
to build
of
Yeah.
build an entire house.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Oh,
greetings.
another thing,
Oh,
y'all. Another thing. All right. Let me see. How can I do this? Okay.
Bro, oh my God, this going bro, this going.
Okay. Say I before I go. Okay. Say I want to make this glass taller. I hit S. I hit Z, and I make it a little bit taller. My stuff is off, so I hit Control A. I apply all transforms. I'm back to 1 to 1. But say I want to select this glass, right? But I want this little arrow to show up in the center of the geometry when I select it so I can move it properly. I
okay.
select the glass and I right click and I set the origin back to geometry. The arrow shows up and now I'm able to navigate the glass within the scene again using the move tool. Yeah. So that's it. I hope y'all enjoyed the class. I hope y'all learned something.
Yes.
Great class, Jackie.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
That was
Jackie. Thank
Jackie.
you.
thank
Great
you.
class, Jackie. Thank
Bravo.
you.
Thank
You
you.
feel a lot more confident. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. So y'all just get y'all practice in. We'll try to
Awesome.
thank you. We'll try to get the video out as soon as possible. So you can go back and watch it and practice and everything. But practice, practice, practice.
Yes,
Like I said,
please.
make mistakes. Don't feel bad. Just work your way through it. And hopefully next week we can get further into doing things and like Kip said, actually making actual objects and doing some actual building. Anything? Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just saying this is exciting.
Oh, yes, it is. Thank you. Thank y'all.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you determine what the size should be of the object? Does that make
Normally,
sense?
normally I compare it to like normally I bring an avatar in
Mm-hmm.
and I would compare it like if I'm in VR chat, then I would bring an avatar in and I compare it to that avatar. Not just a object, but like a whole world.
Mm-hmm.
So like it helps kind of to get the scaling and everything right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Maybe I should have brought one in, but I know this glass would probably be big as hell for an avatar. But yeah, mainly we'll have an avatar sitting there. We'll import one in and we'll just, scale that to size, to compare it to the size of the actual avatar that most of us will be using.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, I see a bunch of badly scaled items in my future.
Well, you know what? That
Me
is
too.
that is fine. That is fine. That is fine. We live and we learn. The first house I made was big as hell. It looked like the giant from Jack and the Beanstalk lived up in there. So it happens.
You know